For the past decade and a half, I have been actively engaged in assignments and projects examining three critical elements of productivity, and they are entrepreneurship, employability, and creditworthiness among economically marginalized populations in Sub-Saharan Africa. Through this work, I have been struck by the formidable challenges faced by female entrepreneurs, particularly those at the bottom of pyramid and employed primarily in agriculture and agriculture related occupations. This discussion aims to shed light on some of these challenges and propose actionable solutions. First of all, let me elaborate on the diversity of rural households in Sub-Saharan Africa. We all know by now that rural populations in Sub-Saharan Africa are diverse and their challenges and opportunities for entrepreneurship vary significantly. A major pitfall of most of the past research has been the tendency to homogenize farming communities, overlooking the diversity. Based on my studies and insights that I have obtained, rural households can broadly be categorized into 5 groups, each with its own distinctive entrepreneurial challenges. The first one is a group of large-scale commercial agricultural households and enterprises. Politically, these groups are well connected, socially quite influential. This group has easy access to financial services, making their entrepreneurial journey relatively smooth. The second group consists of traditional landholders and enterprises. The farmers in this group own significant landholdings and form part of the rural elite, though they face constraints in scaling operations. The third group consists of what I call as subsistence agricultural households and micro enterprises. This diverse group engages in farming primarily for self consumption while supplementing income with off farm labor. They are asset constrained and vulnerable to risks. The next group, the fourth group, is of landless rural households and micro enterprises. This group is dependent on sharecropping or urban labor, and they face acute resource limitations. And lastly, the group consists of chronicle poor rural households, which is the most vulnerable. The group faces compounded risks, farming risks, household risks, expenses on account of weddings, funerals, and so on, social challenges. Women in these households bear the maximum brunt of these adversities. My research has pointed out emergence of sterling entrepreneurship in this category despite several odds from this category. Well, as I said, women in agriculture, this particular group, and women in general in agriculture are overburdened and underrepresented. We all know that women constitute roughly 62% of the agricultural workforce in Sub-Saharan Africa, performing essential roles in food production, processing, and marketing. Despite their centrality, women remain underrepresented in decision making, agricultural research, and leadership, with only 20 to 22% of agricultural scientists and 12 to 14% of leadership roles held by women in Africa. In addition to their agricultural responsibilities, women across the globe shoulder disproportionate domestic burdens like fetching water, cooking, cleaning, caring for children, so on and so forth. They're also primarily responsible for labor intensive tasks like weeding, harvesting, and processing. This inequitable division of labor limits their capacity for entrepreneurial endeavors. Through studies conducted in Kenya, Tanzania, Senegal, Gabon, and elsewhere, an intriguing pattern emerged. What is this pattern? For men showed a stronger entrepreneurial mindset but scored lower, and this is important, scored lower on traits like honesty, diligence, and conscientiousness. Let me repeat again. My study showed a stronger entrepreneurial mindset in men, but scored lower on traits like honesty, diligence, and conscientiousness. And what about women? My research demonstrated high achievement drive, honesty, and creditworthiness, but women largely lacked entrepreneurial opportunities due to socioeconomic constraints. Yet, despite lacking entrepreneurial opportunities, this group of women have demonstrated leadership in setting up micro and small setups and have created wealth for their families. Women's entrepreneurship often manifests in their management of household and agricultural responsibilities, though it is rarely recognized as such. Their limited access to collateral, typically in their husband's name, further excludes them from financial systems necessary for entrepreneurial ventures. Let me touch upon the gender bias in agricultural mechanization that has implication for entrepreneurship for women. Mechanization in agriculture often neglects the specific needs of women farmers. Equipment is usually designed by men for men with little consideration for women's physical strength or, or practical experience. For instance, sweet potato silage chopping machines in Uganda and potato grading equipment in Bolivia required adjustments for women's use. Harmful smoke from traditional gari fryers in Nigeria posed enormous health risks to women. Yet, factory owners showed very little interest in investing in safer alternatives. Mechanization, in my view, also carries some kind of symbolic power, often reinforcing gendered hierarchies, if you will. For example, men in Vietnam's matrilineal Ede community, they derived symbolic power from operating two-wheel tractors, sidelining women in farming decision making. So, what are the solutions and models? To foster female entrepreneurship in agriculture, it is necessary that we address three key factors. Which are they? The first one, we need to profile entrepreneurship, trainability, and creditworthiness using psychometric assessment for women. My research has shown that women have consistently proven to be creditworthy and diligent. Identifying and nurturing these traits can unlock their entrepreneurial potential. Number two, right sizing agricultural tools and equipment. Developing tools tailored to women's needs is essential and critical. Companies like Green Heron Tools have pioneered ergonomic tools for women, incorporating lighter designs and smaller grips. In India, custom designed equipment such as India's Farm Track, developed by Escorts tractors for women, represents a step forward in the right direction. And the third one is innovative financing mechanism. Traditional lending models exclude women due to lack of collateral. Innovative solutions like Nigeria's Hello Tractor, which offers hire services, enabling smallholders to access mechanization without high financial risks. Senegal's MyAgro uses a layaway model to help farmers save incrementally for agricultural inputs via mobile phones. Innovare's leasing model, which is vendor based and user based, provide financing for equipment and capacity building tailored to smallholders and farmer organizations. John Regan, who is one of the directors of Innovare, has been doing pioneering work for developing leasing models for African agriculture. So, the role of women entrepreneurs, blending innovation, resilience, and entrepreneurial spirit, not only shapes a comprehensive, overarching approach to eco friendly agricultural strategies, but also indicates positive transformations in rural settings, enhancing advancements in food security, gender equality, and socioeconomic development. Our research highlights women's propensity to pioneer and develop new agricultural ventures and their inclination to lead even non agricultural entrepreneurial pursuits. Finally, let me conclude by saying that to empower female entrepreneurs in agriculture and address gender imbalance, we should adopt, or rather, we must adopt, a multifaceted approach consisting of assessing and nurturing entrepreneurial potential among women, designing tools and technologies that meet their unique needs, and developing inclusive financial systems that democratize access to resources. These steps, in my view, can liberate women from systemic constraints, enabling them to thrive as entrepreneurs. True emancipation lies not just in increasing their participation, but in recognizing and empowering their potential to lead. By addressing these issues, I'm sure we can create a more equitable and prosperous agricultural landscape in Sub-Saharan Africa. Thank you very much.